We're so excited that you're here to learn about TransformAsia. Our vision is to unleash the generations of Cambodians to learn more about Jesus Christ. We do that with training, education, hands-on care, and love to be able to share the forgiveness and salvation of Jesus Christ. My name is Elizabeth Stiefel, and I work at the U.S. in Colorado as the administrative assistant. We're so excited to share more about what we're doing. So the vision actually started with Sitan and Rhonda. They had to endure from the late 70s the killing fields of Cambodia. But during that time, God was with them and he actually revealed himself to them there. And that's why they had a heart to return back to their native land to share more about Christ. During that time in the early 90s, they were able to go back and start many centers and churches. And I'll share about the 5 centers that we have throughout Cambodia. They're not just all isolated, they're spread throughout the whole country. So I'll start with the newest, more new one. It's in the capital, Phnom Penh, and it's called the Joy Daycare Center. Sitan and Rhonda had a heart for that when they heard and saw people living in the city dump. They had families and children. They lived there. They slept on the garbage. They ate the garbage. They ruffled through the garbage to find stuff to sell. And their hearts were breaking because the kids' life expectancy was very low. So they created the center where 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, we pick up the children, take them to the center, they get to take a bath, they get their clothes cleaned, they have uniforms, they get 2 hot meals a day and some snacks, and they also get an education. So that's more the pre-K kindergarten ages. And then moving on from Phnom Penh, we'll go to Kampuchea, which is about 58 miles or 92 kilometers from the capital. From there, people who knew us at the beginning knew that as the Women's Center. There, we were rescuing women from Phnom Penh who were locked into prostitution and were trying to get out desperately. So that home, we were helping women there just to move past that sort of aspect of their lives. And that sort of evolved into what we called the New Development Center. So the women, we had women who weren't involved in prostitution but were trying to get out, and that's slowly morphed into what we have it today as the New Development Center for Adolescent Care. There we work with the social services in Cambodia, and they bring in children or students who are a part of domestic abuse situations at their homes, and we take care of them there. Just to let you know, all of our centers, we pretty much have 100% where our staff are Christians. So whenever we bring people in, students or children, they are learning about Jesus through their action, through our staff's actions and through their words. And we also have a lot of discipleship trainings throughout the day. They have Bible studies at night at all of our centers for the ones where the children live there, which is the New Development Center is one where they live there. Moving on, we'll go to Battambang Bang, which is actually where Sitan and Rhonda came from. That's their home city. And so we have the Battambang Bang Center, which used to be called the Battambang Bang Trade Center, which actually was to help students or women who didn't want to go into prostitution but needed to have a job. And the factories were not providing on-site training. And so we were helping them learn how to sew and do other activities to be able to help them get jobs in factories. But come to present day time, luckily the factories have training there at their factories, so we don't have to provide that anymore. So what we're doing is a dorm ministry in the housing that we have there. So we have a lot of students coming from all over Cambodia because Battambang Bang is, I believe, the 4th largest city in Cambodia, and so a lot of people come to go to the universities that are there or the schools, and some people cannot afford housing there, so they come and stay with us. And we also at the Battambang Bang Center have a church in the middle of the facility, and then we also have 3 times a week the Street Children's Ministry. So we do have staff for that, and they go out and they get the street children, the children who live on the street, and they come and play. It's not as active as the Joy Daycare Center because we aren't able to clean them there as well, but it's a really great ministry, and we're able to touch many families who wouldn't otherwise be able to have their kids have a little bit of childhood. So moving on from Battambang Bang, we're going to go to the Cambao Feeding Center. That was a cool place. It's very remote. It's on the way to Siem Reap in Battambang Bang, and it's in the middle of nowhere, it seems like. Seaton was actually there to see if we could grow rice, so that we could support all of our centers. And unfortunately that didn't happen, but he did meet some children there who were very destitute. Their parents left to either Thailand or somewhere else and left them with a relative or just on their own. So the kids were in the fields just picking up whatever they could to sell it or to eat it themselves. And so Seaton had a heart for these children. And so we created the center. So the kids come about 5 times a week to get a hot meal. There is some Christian education where we teach them Bible stories. And we try to help a little bit if we can with schoolwork and such. It depends on the time of day. And then moving on from the Kampuchea Center, we're going to go all the way to the David Center in Nguyen Bang, which is on the border of Thailand and Cambodia. So that was actually an interesting story. Seaton went there to share with a general from the Khmer Rouge about Jesus. And the man became a Christian, but he was like, I want you to meet these important people in my life. And so they go out to the jungle, and he calls out, and these kids just come out of nowhere. And Seaton goes, what in the world? So we will tell you more about that in a different video, but we're just really excited about that. And I know that that's a heart that everyone has, and it's filled with so much joy. There are many people who come and help at our centers who are foreigners, but are not believers or on the fence about that, always say that at the David Center, the kids have so much joy and they cannot believe it. Like, how can orphans have so much joy? And we're happy to say it's because most of them know Christ, and we have a really great church that's in Nguyen Bang, and the young pastor is working with the youth there and the kids, and you can tell a difference in the David Center about as soon as you enter through. It's almost like a spiritual change has happened because Christ really is there. So those are all of our centers, and we're really excited about all the work that we're doing there, and we have the churches all throughout Cambodia. And we're really excited for the youth camp that's happening, and we're so excited that you guys could be a part of it. And we're excited that you are able to see it. Hopefully we'll see it the next day. And for the youth camp, 60 to 70% of the kids who come are not believers. So that's an exciting time for them to hear more about Christ and just to be around other believers, especially from your church coming in and sharing. And I know that you guys have a tremendous time, and you're such a huge blessing to us, not just for the youth camps, but so much more. You guys have truly blessed us. I know, going back to the Bong Center, if you go there, there's a plaque that says it was given by you, some of the buildings that were built there. So I know you guys have had a huge heart for TransformAsia since probably the very beginning that Westerners were coming into Cambodia. And we just want to thank you so much, and we're so glad that you could join us learning about what we're doing at TransformAsia. Okay, well, welcome back to the David Center. So remember, we're on the border of Cambodia and Thailand, and that was the stronghold of the Khmer Rouge. But the David Center was home at first to the children of soldiers from the Khmer Rouge, and I think we've cycled out. I think we're on the 3rd generation of children coming in, and the social services are bringing them from all over Cambodia. So it used to be just people from the church sharing about a family member whose child needs help, and we would take them in, and now we're working with the government to bring children in, which is actually really exciting to be able to impact generations about and sharing with them about Christ that they wouldn't normally be able to. As I said, it's a joy-filled place, and we would love to have you come, and that is actually the home of where your Church on the Ridge young adults or youth are staying right now for the youth camp. So we have a really beautiful guest house there. It's 2 stories. I've stayed there myself, and the children are not allowed to go in that area. They're allowed to be around the building, and so it's fun because there's a balcony and you look down and they'll be waving to you, or they'll be climbing up the banana trees that are next to it. But they're not allowed in the center. That's your little safe place in the guest house. So when you enter in, there's like a large living area and space, and I believe that's where a lot of the youth have their sleeping bags and mats and just are camping out there. We also have one room, a larger room with a couple of beds in there, and more of a community bathroom with a few showers and toilets. And then if you go up the stairs, it's a nice wooded sort of alcove area. So there's a few couches upstairs, and then it separates into two different rooms where the doors mirror each other, and there's one bed in each, but it's a larger bed, and they each have their own bathrooms. So that's more of a private area. So if you're coming by yourself, you're more than welcome to stay in those areas. It's a very, very nice guest house. It has air conditioning, which is needed a lot of the times, and it has Wi-Fi, which is very convenient, and you can keep in contact with your family and friends there. So about that, it's about a 10-minute drive. You can get the tuk-tuk, have someone from the staff go with you, or drive a car to the market so you can peruse and get your own food. Or for a little bit extra, you can have some of the staff, while they're preparing the meals for the kids, you can have a similar meal and they'll bring it to you. So how the day runs usually at the David Center, Monday through Friday, they're going to go to school. So they get a wake-up call at 5:30 in the morning to get up, brush their teeth, brush their hair, get ready for the day. 6 o'clock, you'll hear another call, and that's for breakfast time. So they'll eat, and then at 7 o'clock is when they round up all the kids who are going to go to school. Actually, I think all of them come, and they pray for the morning and just bless the day. And then most of the kids go off to school. There are a few little ones that are left behind. We have from the babies all the way up to about high school aged students that are there at the center. So there's always activities for you to do, even while the kids are gone. We always have things that need to be repaired, or just when the kids get back, to love on them and just to have fun. So we would love to have you come to the David Center and help us, or even just to have a relaxing time. The best season to come would be our dry season. But knowing that you guys are from Seattle, the Seattle area, we do have a rainy season. It floods though, so I don't know if that's normal for you. Okay, so the dry season is about December to March. April is a bit hot, and then it becomes the rainy season from about June until November. So those are things to put in your brain. So why don't you come out? We'd love to have you.
Thank you, Church on the Ridge, for your support. We appreciate you so much. God bless you all.